But you know what I've forgotten on there? A bunch of clips. See? Okay, so we're on stage 2 now. I'm doing the last couple of bits now on this first one. I've got that together. As you see, I've put the casing back on and didn't put all the tabs back in, so I've quickly taken the casing off. I'm going to quickly sit the tabs in to secure all the important wiring, and then I'm going to crack on with this one here. So let's put all the clips back in. This bit is fiddly, but that's that one done. So now we're going to challenge this one. This is the one that has the battery terminal to it down here, and just a bunch of other bits. It should be easy, this one. So I'm not going to talk, I'm just going to do it. Right there out the way. I'm going to do these now. Remember, there's that pin down underneath here, that safety clip. So crumbs and dropping everything. So I'm going to do, obviously no need to keep this case. You can probably get away with breaking all this away. So now we can get these fuses out. Then get your new one and start literally just clicking them into place like that. Now I'm going to get these out. Like I've done before, put the fuses in order they come out. So as you can see, that's this piece. The fuse is all done on this side, so it's first half done. I've just got the relays to go, and I've just got to plug these two connectors into here. Real time, that took me about 35 minutes, and I'll speed the footage up for it. So next thing I've got to do is release all the safety clips here at the back. I've only got one grey one, the red one, and the two white ones over the bottom there, over the back in this lot, and that's it done. So I'm going to do this one now, and we'll crack on. And that's it. Not quite all back together yet, but I've swapped one out. Okay, so from what you've seen, just click everything, just notice it's not clicked in properly. There we go. So what you've just seen there, with that, the whole procedure from taking these all out and putting them all back in into the new casing is the old casing. Look, it's pretty messed up. Spin it around, look. See, so it's done. Real time, like I say, that's taken me just over an hour, and I've still got to put the pins back, like all the little clips back in the back. So I will do that off camera, and then I'll reinstall it. But no doubt I would have sped the footage up. Sit there for an hour watching me do that, it'd be boring. So the next thing all I've got to do is, like I say, just put it back together, put all the clips back in. So let's crack on with that part now. So just put these clips back in. Then get your lower tray and just quickly work out which way it sits. That way. I've just realised something. I might need to, the power from the battery comes in here, and yeah, as you can see, it's not going to work. Let me have a look. Maybe if I undo this one, just them two cables. If I undo this one, the battery cable, and that grey connection block, I'll just put it back in. It feeds this wire, this relay, sorry, this one, the power to it. Just pull them off and pull them through. The box, this bit, and poke your battery terminals up and in. Pull it down somewhat, then reconnect it. Do the 10mm back up. So what's left is put this one back in. Remember to leave your ground, and in my case my new wire for the Exion power out, poke it into there. And you've also got to remember to make sure it all lines up, because this front piece and the back bit actually join up. That's not aligned up properly. Right, make sure it all lines up. Just slide it back together. There you go. Yep, all done. Make sure it's all good. Looks good to me. Put the relay back in. Plug all your terminals back in. Put all the fuses back in a second. Do these ones. Put your 10mm back on here. You can put your, once I put the fuse back in, you can put your lid back on. I'm going to leave it off for a second. So there you go, all the fuses are in. That's the new fuse box in, and now you're replacing it. And this little red wire down here is for this extra 20 amp fuse here, which will go to this. I'm going to have to cut and solder this and put some heat shrink on it, and that will power up my Exion headlights. So rather than having the fuse run to the battery like I did have, it's now actually a part of the fuse box, so it's even more stock. So yeah, chuffed with that, really happy. It's taken ages. Okay, so just a little update for you. Everything's tightened down again, the ground points are all back in, every bolt's done back up, the new fuse box is all in and ready to go. The battery trays had a de-rust in and some paint put on it to look nice and tidy. All I've got left to do now is this wire here, which is the 12 volt with the, from here to run the relays that power up my Exion headlights, because it needs a 12 volt feed straight from the battery. So I'm going to come back to you when I've done that and show you then. Okay, so the final update, battery's back in, all the terminals are back on, everything's done up. I've soldered all the wire for the Exion headlight, and that's all back in. I've got a little bit more tidying up to do here, because I'm not putting everything back together yet, because I need to just test it, make sure it still works. Can't see why it shouldn't, but you never know. So there's the new fuse box. You can't really see where the mess was because it was between the battery here and the fuse box, but I must admit it does look nicer. I'll say this, I've got this new 20 amp fuse here to run my Exion headlights. I've run a separate wire for that. So let's go test the car out. Grab the keys would help. So let's see, moment of truth. Well, the wing mirrors are folded in when I connect the batteries, so that's a good start. Let's get in. And it's at this moment everything goes wrong. The alarm light's all flashing, so we're all good. Sounds promising so far. Let me just see if I can. Right, accessory 1 is powering up. Aircon's all working. Let's try and start it. Not starting. This is why. No, there's no cranking. Right, so there is a little underlying issue. Maybe just a quick fix. I'm going to have a little go over it and test it all out. But everything powers up in here, so it's not cranking. Don't know what that could be. It can't be anything major. I can't hear the fuel pump kicking in, so it could be just a fuse on that that's not working. So I'll check the fuse for the fuel pump and try again in a minute. Okay, so after that little blip where I got in the car, tried to start it and it didn't go, I've gone inside, had a break for a couple of hours, fell asleep, and I've woke up today with a fresh head, and it's done me some good because I've come out here and I thought, do you know what, I'm going to clean up the earth points on this car because they looked a bit rusty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you now what I've done. So what I've done is I took this earth point out. As you can see, I've given it a good scrub just around the bolt and the washer between, and the same on this one here. I've done the same. I've just literally scuffed it with a bit of sandpaper, and now we're going to do is put the battery back in. You can see I've numbered all the relays because up where I was testing them. So that's where I started testing, like what one, so I knew which ones I tested. But I've scrubbed these up. So what I'm going to do, hopefully this will work, because they do look like, you know, they did look really bad. They looked as rusty as this, so they'll probably need replacing at some point. So, but like I say, I've scuffed over the top some sandpaper, and I've scuffed between where the grounding point crimp is, so it's all scuffed up and looking nice and clean. So let's put the battery in. So as you can see, I've just reconnected the battery. I'm going to jump in the car now and try it and see what actually happens. I'm going to leave the camera here so you can watch what I'm doing. I might just reposition it a little bit, so I'm just tidying up a bit of mess. I don't know if you can hear me, I'm just getting in. Well, that time I definitely heard the fuel pump relay and everything prime up. So, fingers crossed. Do it one more time just to prove it weren't a fluke. Yeah, you can hear the fuel pump definitely priming up. There you go, guys. That worked. So literally, when I got in the car yesterday and started it all up, and it was dead, there was nothing. Although there was electrics, you know, like I say, headlights were working and everything else, the radio was working, the cluster all lit up. But regardless of all that, it turned out to be the earth points where they were that rusty. So obviously they got rusted up from the previous battery that was in here, where it leaked battery fluid to cause all the problem in the first place. So when you do this sort of job, it can be done. Very time consuming, as you see. Just make sure you check, you know, the ground points and give them a good sand, make sure they're cleaned up, you know. So anyway, enough said, time to move on to the next video. And it's a beautiful day today, loving it. So as always, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.